Okay, so this video is going to be on the passive subjunctive forms. Primarily, we're going to look at the imperfect and the pluperfect tenses. So just a quick overview of active versus passive again. In case you forgot, obviously, if you haven't, you can fast forward. The lion sees the bear. That's an example of an active sentence. The subject, the lion here, does the action. The lion's what's doing the seeing. The other sentence, the lion is seen by me. This is passive. The lion is still the subject, but instead of doing something, instead of seeing, it's receiving the action. It's being seen. So in the first one, the subject does the action. The second one, the subject has the action done to it. So the subjunctive, this is just the slide from the last show. If you're unclear on the subjunctive, I would refresh yourself by going to the last video. But just very briefly, the subjunctive is used to express actions that are ideas that exist in the mind but not necessarily reality, and they're almost always used in subordinate or dependent clauses. So for example, I teach so that you might learn. Teaching is definitely what I do. You learning is a possibility. It exists in my mind and I'm hoping that it happens, but it's not necessarily real. Okay, so we're still going to work with the two tenses, the imperfect subjunctive and then the pluperfect subjunctive, both passive, of course. So an example would be, since you were being attacked by lions, that should say, you were scared. Since you were being attacked by lions is happening at the exact time that you are being scared. So these are same time verbs. And as a result, you're going to use the imperfect subjunctive to indicate that it's the same time as the main verb. However, since you had been attacked by lions, you were tired. You're tired here after you've already been attacked by lions, obviously. And so because being attacked by lions happens first before the main verb of being tired, that's going to be a pluperfect subjunctive. Okay, so the imperfect subjunctive formation, passive. All you're going to do here is you're going to take the present active infinitive and add the personal endings. This should sound fairly familiar to you because it's exactly how you form the imperfect subjunctive active, except instead of using the active endings, you're using the passive ones. So here are passive endings, and here are some example forms. Amare would be I was loved, videreris, you were seen, ducaretur, he was led, audi remor, we were heard. Okay, pluperfect subjunctive, on the other hand, all you're going to do here is take your perfect passive participle, so that's the fourth principal part that you use with all past passive verbs. What you're going to do is you're going to add the imperfect active subjunctive of sum as a separate word, and then you're going to make sure that the participle agrees with the subject in gender, case, and number. So your fourth principal part should look familiar to you. Then you're going to add the imperfect subjunctive of sum, essem, assess, asset, essemus, ascetis, assent. Now you might be wondering where those forms came from. How did you get that as an imperfect subjunctive? And if you remember with the imperfect subjunctive, you just take the present active infinitive, esse in this case, and add the personal endings, which gets you those same forms. Okay, so pluperfect passive subjunctive, if going back we take amatos, visus, etc., those fourth principal parts, and then we take essem, assess, asset, we're going to end up with amatos, aum, essem, amatos, aum, esses, etc. Now notice these forms are singular because the subject's singular, and these forms are plural because the subject's plural. So you need to make this verb form agree with your subject in gender, so these would be the masculine, these would be the feminine, and these would be the neuter. You got to make it agree in number, so singular over here, plural over here, and then of course case. Now of course here, the case of these forms is always going to be nominative because it refers to your subject, and your subject is always nominative. Okay, I just wanted to quickly compare the pluperfect passive subjunctive with the pluperfect passive indicative. So if here you're taking the fourth principal part and the imperfect subjunctive, remember in the pluperfect passive in the indicative, You're just taking the fourth principal part and then the imperfect of the indicative. So it's the same basic idea, except here you're using the imperfect subjunctive, and here you're using the imperfect indicative. So that does it for this video. If you have any more questions, feel free to email me or comment on this page. Thanks a lot, and now I want you to try the activity.